This is a national trend.
Okay.
And there's other supporting factors, not only household formation trends, household formation occurring later in life, but the fastest growing population for divorce is people in the age of 60 and above.
Are you kidding me?
Not kidding you. So those people that have been in 20, 30, 40-year marriages are now becoming divorcees, and they're looking for a simpler lifestyle. They want a condominium, a one-bedroom. They don't want a giant house they have to go out and mow the lawn on Sundays.
Welcome to the How to Scale Commercial Real Estate Show. Whether you are an active or passive investor, we'll teach you how to scale your real estate investing business into something big.
Charles Bulthuis is a CRE broker and the president and founder of Reformation Asset Management. Charles, welcome to the show.
Hi, thank you very much.
Absolutely, Charles. Glad to have you here on the show today. There are 3 questions I ask every guest who comes on the show in 90 seconds or less. Can you tell me, where did you start? Where are you now? And how did you get there?
I started out as a residential broker in 1992 in San Diego, California. I'm currently the president and owner of a company that's a brokerage, a property management, construction company, maintenance, and lawn care. So we have 5 divisions and 65 employees. And I got here, basically, I have a philosophy on how to get rich quick, even if it takes you 20 years.
I like that. I like that a lot. You're a busy man. You got a lot of things going on. The lawn care one that's I want to dig into that maybe before the show's over and just find out how that bolt-on business came to be. But regardless, let's talk about some things really that are going on here in the marketplace today. You are, I think the brokerage firm, is that probably the largest part of what you guys are working on right now? Is that a fair assessment?
No, actually, the revenue that comes in from construction will be the largest source of the revenue.
Interesting. Okay. Very, very cool. Well, let's talk about that then, because I mean, you're in a market, you're where? You're in Durham, North Carolina?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Cool. What are you guys building right now? Like, what's the big demand for you guys right now?
So what we're involved in right now is the condo conversion. So we're taking apartments that have been undervalued, so what you call a value add property, but rather than turning it into a value add apartment, we're turning them into value add condominiums and then offering them as a resale product to owner occupants. So we helped one client acquire 108 units in Durham, and another group of investors acquire 96 units in Chapel Hill. And those 204 units combined are what we're working on right now. And it's just under $20 million in renovations.
What are some challenges? I mean, that has to be the right, I would imagine, the right property in the right place with the right size of units, the right number of beds and baths. I mean, what are some challenges that you run into in locating a property like a condo conversion, even saying, hey, this is possible as a condo conversion?
Right. So the first step is actually not looking for what the market needs. The first step is identifying what the market needs. So once you've identified what the market needs, then you find a product that you can turn into what the market wants.
Right.
So I didn't have to go out and find the 2-bedroom, 2-bath, 1,000 square foot. I found the 2-bedroom, 1.5 bath, 1,000 square foot, and converted it into a 2-2.
I see. Yeah, that's really, really cool. I love the spin on what value add is. Why is an end buyer? What is appealing to them about was apartment complex, now is a condo? Like what's the value there for the end, I guess the end buyer?
So we're doing this both ways. In one instance, we are buying condominiums that we're buying apartments and converting them into condominiums.
Yeah.
And so for that individual investor, I helped him acquire 6 buildings that made up the community that is the 108 units. And then as we divest him of each building, they'll be their own separate 1031 tax deferred exchange. So he may pay taxes on one building, he may exchange another building. And so for him, it was the net proceeds potential, where he was basically spending $20 million for purchase and rehab, and then selling the product as condos for $30 million. So it's a $10 million gain for him, and that's quite an incentive. For the other parties, where they're buying condos and they're actually converting them into rentals, this is near the University of North Carolina, which has a very strong student population, and the rents for those types of properties are rather high. They rent by the bedroom. So we could take a property that in that neighborhood was completely undervalued, renting at $900 a month in a dilapidated 50-year-old complex, revamp the entire complex, raise the rents to the market value of 1900, and the value add to my owners is dramatic. But then they have the ability to turn that whole product over as one rental property to an institutional investor that's looking for a $30 million buy that is student housing.
No, that's really, really cool. I want to circle back to the let's call it the person that buys the condo conversion, the was apartment now is a condo. Who's living there? Why do people want that product in the market?
First of all, we have a market that completely misunderstood the buying needs of the product of the buyers today. For 30 plus years, the market was not producing one bedroom apartments. Think about that. You never saw one bedroom apartments being built, or at least, not as the majority, very few were.
Right.
But that is the source of workforce housing.
Really?
So if you have a city that's growing rapidly and you're not providing workforce housing that is affordable, you're going to run into a situation where your employers are going to have to pay their employees dramatically more money to import them from outlying areas to avoid that $20 sandwich and coffee. It's just, you have to have workforce housing. And as a result, I was picking these one bedroom apartments as something that we could convert from apartments into condos. And now the price to rent in this location is $1,650 a month, but you can buy the same condo and own it for $1,650 PITIHOA.
Right. So why not? Why not? If you're gonna end up paying the same amount of money on a monthly basis, own, don't rent. I mean,
exactly.
That just seems to make a lot of sense. I'm really intrigued by interested in the idea that the one bedroom, that kind of flies in the face of what I would have clearly wrongly assumed, that one bedroom are what people are wanting.
Household formation right now in the Triangle, which Research Triangle Park is the area for Raleigh, Durham, Chapel Hill, and several other outlying communities, but those three big ones, the average household size right now is 1.8 people per household.
Huh. Right. That's a lot smaller than I would have assumed. Assumed.
Demographics have shifted dramatically.
Yeah, absolutely. How does this work inside of the housing shortage? I know that's something that is kind of near and dear to your heart, and you guys are trying to figure out a way to solve what of it you can. So how does this play into that kind of housing shortage?
So it plays in, the city is actually following suit with the product that I'm recommending. I sat on the mayor's affordable housing roundtable for the last 3 mayors that we've had in Durham. And one of the things that we discussed was workforce housing and household formation relative to the population growth in our area. And of the 2,500 or so affordable housing units the city is planning to build, 2,200 of them are one bedroom homes.
Wow.
It's that severe how important that workforce housing is. Now, when we're talking about a downtown region, this is where your restaurants, your bars, all of your nightlife activity, your offices, these places need people that come in and work those types of service industry jobs. But at the same time, if we build 3 bedrooms and 4 bedrooms, that's more of a family-oriented housing structure. And then you have to build new schools, and you have to have school buses, and you have to build the infrastructure for children. So this is more for a dense population, or for the intention of a higher increasing dense population.
No, I like that. I like that a lot. That makes a lot of sense. That's a really that's just an insight I'd not really had before, is on, and this maybe, do you think this is particular to where you are, or do you kind of see this as a national?
This is a national trend.
Okay.
And there's other supporting factors. Not only household formation trends, household formation occurring later in life, but the fastest growing population for divorce is people in the age of 60 and above.
Are you kidding me?
Not kidding you. So those people that have been in 20, 30, 40-year marriages are now becoming divorcees, and they're looking for a simpler lifestyle. They want a condominium, a 1 bedroom. They don't want a giant house they have to go out and mow the lawn on Sundays.
Man, I'm not in that 60 and above divorce category, but I'll tell you, even I would say on the millennial side, like even they want kind of that smaller product type. I mean, gosh,
yeah, less commitment.
Yeah, man. Like I'll even say it like, yeah, I own a house right now and it's great for the kids playing in the backyard and all that, but we could probably get those same amenities maybe with less work. Home ownership is, well, it's a lot like work. I mean, you got a lot of stuff to keep up. So
Yeah, there's a trade out there, that's for sure. When you're
I,
buying a house, you have to envision that there will be costs that will be yours, but there also ties in with the fact that eventually the property will be yours,
right.
or at
Undoubtedly.
least the equity.
Right. It goes both ways, but yeah, if you could sell me very quickly on the idea of not spending Saturday, which I don't spend Saturday mowing the yard anyway, but if you still end up maintaining stuff one way or another. But I digress. This is not why we came here on the show to talk about what my preferences are. I do want to talk about what market perceptions are in some kind of asset classes that people traditionally, or not traditionally, but even right now, are saying, these things are dead. Those two being retail and office. Give me your insights on those two particular asset classes in particular.
So the pandemic had a major impact on the work from home and the work from office discussion. And if you were to watch the news and you only paid attention to the largest markets in the country, Chicago, New York, LA, Miami, you're gonna Houston, you're gonna get the perception that commercial real estate is a spiral.
Right.
But here locally, the commercial real estate market for retail and for office is very brisk. I've missed out on 3 properties that I personally wanted to buy in the last 6 months because I just didn't get my offer accepted. I wasn't high enough, etc. And understand, please, if you're not familiar with CRE, that most loans for commercial real estate are going to be tied to a 20-year amortization schedule, and that's not tied to the 10-year bond. So the rates for the commercial property, they're in the 5s right now. They're not in the 6s, and they were down in the 4s just a few months ago. So that market still has viability. And yes, there's a lot of loans that are going to have to be refinanced in the near future, but we don't have a liquidity issue in the banking system. We have a few banks that misunderstood the value of investing in treasuries versus having some money on hand to give your depositors if they ask for it back.
Right. Yeah, you said it. You said it. So for where you guys are right now, what you're telling me is that retail and office aren't just not dead, but they're doing very well in certain markets.
Very well. And even in the major markets where they're not doing that well, as a percentage of the overall portfolio, they're less than 5%.
Right.
If you took all the commercial real estate in New York, Los Angeles, Chicago, Houston, Miami, you grouped it all up, it would still be less than 5% of the nation's commercial real estate. It's just not gonna tip the scale.
Right, undoubtedly. It even so, I mean, gosh, I had someone on the show here recently that their whole strategy right now, and they're in New York, is buying office space, which is not doing very well in New York City. And they're
Imagine that, buy low, sell high.
Right. He was telling me that 2 years ago, or not 2 years ago, maybe 3 years ago, I've been pre-pandemic, gosh, 3.5 years ago then. They were trading $800-900 a square foot. He's like, dude, we're picking stuff up right now, $300-400 a square foot.
Yeah.
Because it's now's the time to buy. Like this is
New York's not going to disappear.
It's not.
And as a reality, all that's going to happen is you're going to have a lot of these companies re-envisioning how to amenitize their office space to lure the workforce back.
Right. That's exactly right. That's really, really cool. Are there strategies or things that people or any of your clients really you see them doing right now that would just be good food for thought if somebody's looking at these asset classes?
Yeah, don't let yourself get rolled over by the noise that is the pundits, the know-it-alls. One of the best things you can do is go against the crowd.
Right. I like that a lot. Yeah, absolutely. If your main source of information is from the pundits, we're probably not friends because it's just a lot of noise. So that's really, really great there. Let's talk about the interplay between interest rates, the residential market. I know that affects a lot of things. What are you seeing on that front?
So what this market had us quickly return to was strategies from the early 90s. And I started in 1992, and we had an accelerating interest rate market from that period as well that led us from a recession in San Diego into a horrible recession in San Diego. We had Boeing, which was one of the largest employers in San Diego, leave and go to Washington State, caused a massive drop in valuations. And then boom, we hit the 92 recession. And now we've got interest rates going up toward the 8s as well. And one of the best tools that we had in our basket back then, or our toolbox, was the buy down. And so we are aggressively using the buy down to position buyers into our product with rates that are artificially reduced for the next couple of years, because we believe that in the next couple of years, they'll be able to refinance into lower rates.
Can you explain that strategy, I guess more in depth?
Sure. What a buy down is if interest rates today are at 6.5 and I spend points, I can go through my lender and buy the interest rate down to a 4.5% interest rate. And so the buyer still has to qualify at the rate of 6.5. But for their payment purposes, they'll be making payments the first year at 4.5% interest, the second year at 5.5, and then that third year it'll normalize at whatever the rate was at the time that they took the loan at, today 6.5.
Right.
But if at any time during that period the rates were to drop, they can refinance their loan into a lower standard interest rate and even use the money that's still available in the 2-1 buy down for future rate reduction for the cost of the refinance. And because of the inversion of the yield curve right now, it is the long-term money that is priced low and the short-term money that's priced high, which is indicative of rates coming down in the next 24 months.
Interesting. So in effect, it's not just buying an option for refinance. It's sort of like that, but you also get the short-term benefit of maybe potentially paying less in interest on the front end.
Oh, you're absolutely paying less on the front end. And the best part is the seller is paying for that option on your behalf.
Ah, so that's something you negotiate into the deal.
Right.
Very cool. I love that. That's certainly an advanced strategy. Thank you for taking the time to really share with us your thoughts on that front. So far we have talked about the perceptions inside of retail and office. We have talked about the interest rates in the residential market. We've talked about condo conversions. We've covered a lot of territory here. The one thing I really haven't gotten into with you, you talked about maintenance in a lawn care business. I mean, when did you tack that side of your business on and why?
So I created the property management company because no property managers wanted to deal with what I was doing. Let me buy the property. Let me push everybody out of the property, remodel the property, then re-rent the property. And then in 2 years, 1031 it into another property.
Right.
So I had to create a property management company. Well, now I have a property management company. I have to manage the properties. I need maintenance. I need lawn care. Well, as I realized that I kept falling to I wasn't the top person on everybody's list.
Yeah.
Well, I want to be the top person on the list. So I had to create the company so that the company takes care of me because I'm its only client.
There you go. I love it. I love it. What's it been like? Let me ask you this question. Scaling all of these different businesses. How do you mean, what's been like maybe one thing you've done that has really helped you scale each of these in their own unique way?
Hiring people that can head each of these companies that I'm creating or each of these divisions within my company. I am, in my opinion, and others, a very good real estate broker.
Okay.
But I'm not a general contractor and I haven't cut a lawn since I was a teenager. So I need to hire people that can run these other businesses or head up these other divisions without my constant interaction. And that's the key to building any business, is hiring the right employees, getting the right staff behind you, building a team.
Yeah. And that's the hardest part. I mean, I think so many times, especially, the thrust of this show is how to scale commercial real estate. And when you're in that scaling period, especially in the early days, the mistakes of a miss or a bad hire can be expensive, but also just they can be time consuming. Are there any strategies you employ on that front now, making sure you're bringing the right team members on the first time?
90 days. I need to know within the first 90 days if these people are going to be able to take that ball and run with it on their own, or if they still need me to sit on their shoulder. In North Carolina, you can fire anybody for any reason or no reason within the first 90 days.
Got it.
If I know in 90 days that I think that they're just not getting it, I want to start over.
Okay. And that's hard, man. That's hard. I mean, I'm sure that's a muscle that you've had to exercise over time. I know for me, I'm getting better at it, but it's also one of those things like, gosh, I hate letting people go. It's always hard.
My management experience was garnered in the U.S. Army, so I'm a little bit better at that.
Good. I like it. I need to tear a page out of your book and read it probably more often. So this has been fantastic. Charles, I have enjoyed today's show. You've given us a wealth of information, things here to think about. If our listeners want to get in touch with you or learn more about you, what is the best way to do that?
Please go through my website, Reformation Asset Management. Or if you would like, call me directly. I'm very accessible. My number is 919-452-4833.
Fantastic. And we will make sure we put that there also in the show notes. Charles, thank you for taking the time to come on the show today. I certainly appreciate it.
Thank you very much. It was a great show.
Hey, thanks for listening to the How to Scale Commercial Real Estate podcast. If you can do me a favor and subscribe and leave us a review on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, whatever platform it is you use to listen, if you can do that for us, that would be a fantastic help to the show. It helps us both attract new listeners as well as rank higher on those directories. So appreciate you listening. Thanks so much and hope to catch you on the next episode.